what were the biggest lessons you took away from the show?
I learned how I react when I'm overwhelmed and really stressed, which is a lot of the time. I know I'm an overthinker about things. I overanalyze stuff. So and I'm someone who would sometimes predict catastrophe even if it's not going to come. So I'm like doing all my calculations of this much left to do, how much, I learned to let go of that. It's not worth it. You just got to be in the moment. I learned what you kind of learn at a very deep psychological, neurological level. I'd even go as far as saying, because I do think that the high levels of constant stress and perceived danger affect your primitive brain, your limbic system, as it's known as, rather than your cortical conscious brain that we use for conscious work. I think it goes deeper than that, into the fear centers, because you are in constant stress and fear. But what it does to you, like when you get to that acceptance phase, you realize you can do stuff. You realize there is only an end if you say there is an end. As in, you only will give up if you decide to give up. And if someone had said to us, "Oh, you're going to do this tomorrow," I might have been like, "That's not going to happen, man." But when you're on that mountain and they just say, "Right, go and turn around and do that last 5K again," you're like, "Okay, fine." And you're like in zombie mode and you just do it. So coming out, and I remember Goggins said that he's like our patron saint.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, we need a big picture, a big mural of him attacking a bull or something like that,
But Goggins said that on the other side of suffering is a beautiful world. That was his quote. And that literally came to me when I came out, because I came out into another world. And since then, and I was saying this to Ant a few weeks ago, I said, there's nothing now that, even if you're stuck in something terrible and difficult, be it a training session or something worse, and even if you can't see the end of the tunnel, if you can't see the end of the light at the end of the tunnel, you just know in yourself now, I believe, that if I just stick to my guns, stick to my technique, stick to my code, I will get through it. And because that's what we did on the course. You do not give up. That is never in the question. You never give up. You just keep grinding, and the rewards will come. And I think that's probably the best lesson for life, isn't it?
Yeah. It'll be all right in the end, because if it's not all right, it's not the end.
Yeah.
Something like that. I like that one.
Just keep going.
How important to you is it to keep testing yourself? Because obviously I see these as like a COVID vaccine. They start to dwindle after a few months, the resilience you build up. How important is it to keep challenging yourself?
Really, really, really important. And you can get into a false sense of security when you reach a pinnacle of staying there and thinking, right, I'm done. And then if you stay in that mode for too long, you've dropped right down again. And I was afraid of, if I come out of SAS, how is anything going to top that? What will I do? But no, you just find stuff to do.
You found Rockman.
Exactly, Ashley. No, seriously, that when I was doing the Rockman challenges, and especially when it became colder in the end of 2020, running out in the wind and in the cold weather, it kind of stimulated Raze in the sky where we were, and that kind of tightness in your chest. And when it rained, I was reminded of it all. You've got to you can't stay where you are, because I don't think humans were built for that. And I think part of the suffering of the world today and the malaise is because of this acceptance of mediocrity, which has crept up on us like a bit of a cancer. We look for happiness, but we've never defined our happiness. We've never asked ourselves, what is this happiness I'm looking for? And Jordan Peterson nicely kind of describes it, as well as others, to say that actually, and you may have heard this saying, but it's the climb is the happiness, the struggle. Because when you get to that peak and the pinnacle, you're like, okay, now what? And it's the human nature, I think, is to keep on evolving and challenging oneself. And to me, that's essentially one of the meanings of life. And I'd say, if you said to me, what's your reason for being? Why are you on this earth? Is to keep on improving. And then that brings me to the faith aspect, because what are you improving to? Well, what would be the highest peak to achieve? That would be perfection, theoretically speaking, right? None of us are perfect. We know that. We can't be, we're human. But if we keep striving for such a pinnacle which is unreachable, only good things can come from that, right? And perfection, however you want to define it, you can call it a god, you can call it God. You don't have to be a religious person. You can call it the highest collection of all the virtues that humankind has described.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a judge. It's a judge of some form, be it God, if you want to call it that. Even if you're someone who doesn't believe in God, fine. You must have some value structure, right? And your job, I believe, my job, or your job, anyone's job, is to try and get closer and closer and closer to that in incremental steps throughout your life.
What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that clip, then you can check out the full episode by clicking here. And don't forget to subscribe.